evening and welcome. You are watching NDTV Profit special show on the Hindenburg hit job, and I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. US-based research firm Hindenburg's second attempt to hit and run has been met by a strong pushback. The markets shrugged off the Hindenburg report, with the benchmarks regaining from the day's lows. First, we look at how the day panned out on the Lal Street with Agam Vakil.
Well, it's been a flat day of trade, but it could have actually been read as a reasonably good day of trade had you, in fact, expected weakness earlier on in the session. We have seen the Nifty close largely flattish, marginally in the red, but it certainly could be considered as a day of trade where we saw a lot of recovery when it comes to the benchmarks, especially given the fact that there were allegations from research firm and short seller Hindenburg. Those allegations were dealt with head-on, not just by the Adani Group company, but also the SEBI and the SEBI chairperson. And that perhaps has also led to a lot of participants in the market shirking off and ignoring the allegations that have come through from the point of Hindenburg. And that has in fact also led to gains in the broader markets. So there was outperformance when it comes to the mid-cap index, which was up by 0.25%, the small-cap index up by around 0.3% as well. And all in all, a lot of that was also on account of the gains that we saw with respect to stocks which were moving on account of good earnings. But this is your advanced decline ratio, and through the most of the day, it was 1:1. So there wasn't a very big difference between advances and declines, even though at one point in time you had much more in terms of declines. That ratio clearly changed over the last couple of hours in the trading session. This is, of course, how the Nifty panned out. And while we have more losers as compared to gainers for the Nifty, names like ONGC, Axis Bank, Hero MotoCorp, GSW Steel, all of them actually aided the Nifty to stay, largely flattish. Sure enough, we had some weakness in Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports, but remember, even these stocks were well off days' lows. We also had a little bit of weakness when it comes to Dr. Reddy's and NTPC. All in all, certainly a day where we actually saw recovery coming through, and it's a wait and watch of whether or not consolidation comes through as we move into trade this upcoming week.
The markets have shrugged off the Hindenburg report as the Sensex and the Nifty had an intraday recovery. The hit job essentially turned into a flop show, with key sectoral indices closing in the green. Mr. Keki Mistry, veteran banker and advisor to various corporates, is joining us on this. Thank you, Mr. Mistry, for joining us. Mr. Mistry, the markets seem to have shrugged off the allegations that have been made by Hindenburg. How do you read what has happened so far?
Well, personally, if you ask me, I think the report is based on a lot of meaningless interpretation and correlation of totally unrelated items. I mean, for example, the clarifications which have been issued by the SEBI chairperson and her husband clearly state that they had invested in the offshore fund at a time when they were private individuals. And they had no connection whatsoever with SEBI. Also, they were living overseas, and they had made sufficient disclosure to SEBI at the time of joining SEBI. Now, as a private individual, I or any individual can invest in any fund that they want. And at the time of investing, you're not going to go into who the other investors in the fund are. It's completely irrelevant. It's not even possible, and it is irrelevant. Also, as far as the allegations about the encouragement to REITs is concerned, I think, in my opinion, REITs is a very good product. It's an excellent product where retail investors can participate with limited investment in the upside in real estate markets. So in a REIT, the way it happens is that there is a large pool of commercial property, and that commercial property is put into a REIT. The income that is generated from that property, which could be largely in the form of rental income or profit on sale of the property or whatever, will ultimately flow back to the ultimate investor. So as a retail investor with limited amount of resources at your disposal, you are able to invest in the real estate market, in the real estate market. Also, as far as the allegations on Adani are concerned, I think these have been thoroughly investigated, and the group has been completely exonerated. I think we should just leave it at that.
Right now, Mr. Mistry, various experts we have spoken to since the morning seem to suggest that there appears to be a larger conspiracy to discredit the Indian markets, its regulator, and also attack the growth story that we have seen in the past few years. What is your sense on that?
Well, my sense is that any attempt that is made, I mean, first of all, let's understand we have outstanding regulators and a very, very good regulatory framework in India. Whether you look at RBI regulating the banking sector and the NBFC sector, or you look at SEBI regulating the markets, or you look at IRDA regulating the insurance companies. I think we have an extremely robust and a very strong regulatory framework. So let's put that one point aside. Because of a variety of reasons, and particularly the initiatives that have been taken by the government, India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. And therefore, to my mind, any attempt that is made to derail that growth or to create doubts about that growth should be resisted by all of us as Indians.
Right now, going back to the fact that you you did touch upon the SEBI chair Madhvi Puri Buch and her husband coming out and actually giving a point-by-point rebuttal of all the allegations made. The government also seems to have said that there is really nothing further to add to this.
I would tend to agree with that, because whatever explanation has been given yesterday, and I've seen that explanation, it clarifies every single doubt which has been raised in the report.
All right. Any final thoughts you have going forward? Of course, hopefully we'll see an end to this conversation that has been on for a while.
I would think so. I think markets have disregarded the report. You've seen that today. Markets were up, at least for a major part of the day. I think they closed up also. So I think markets have disregarded it. I think people understand that the allegations don't seem to be logical or are really baseless, and therefore the market is just moving ahead. Our economy is extremely strong. I must compliment, as I said, once again, the government and the regulators for the various measures that they've taken to make India the strongest and the fastest growing major economy in the world.
All right, Mr. Mistry, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts. Thank you. Now, veteran investor and founder of MK Ventures, Madhusudan Kela, told NDTV Profit that he smelled a larger agenda in the Hindenburg allegations. Listen in.
To my mind, and I've been in the market for more than 33 years, right? To my mind, it is crystal clear, and there is nothing which has, you investigate when you are in doubt. I can't understand where is the doubt. And what do we need to investigate? If you are a private individual and if you invested money in a fund, right, when you were a private individual and you redeemed the fund as soon as the basis on which you made the investment, came out. So what is there to investigate? I think that the real serious issue would have been if the fund had invested, if the money was invested at that point of time, and the money directly would have been invested in the group stocks, and they were continuing even till now. Then one can understand there could be some link. But whatsoever, I think the fund was redeemed in 2018, it was invested in 2015, and that fund had nothing to do with the Adani group of companies. They did not invest in Adani group stocks, neither they invested in Adani group bonds. So that is point number one. The other allegation which they made is Mr. Dhaval is working with Blackstone. Now he has a clear expertise in the supply chain and logistics area. And as a professional, if he is working for a professional company, what is wrong in that? And where is the link between the two? He has nothing to do with the real estate business of Blackstone. And the third allegation is that she is running some the third allegation is that she is running, the chairperson is running some private company and she is doing consulting. Again, she has made it very, very clear that as soon as she got into SEBI, she has relinquished all of that, and those companies have become dormant companies. And if she was not in SEBI, what is wrong in giving consultancy to someone else? So to me, Neeraj, it looks completely malicious, and it looks like an attack on the country rather than an individual. To question the basic credibility of a regulator in a country like India, wherein the regulator has done and demonstrated such a fantastic job, and she has demonstrated such a phenomenal career over the last 30 years. I think it looks, as I once again repeat, it looks larger than what we all of us can see, and it is part of some real conspiracy. And it looks like a desperate attempt to malign the image of an individual.
Now, rubbishing the Hindenburg Research Report, Piper Sarika's Abhay Agarwal said that the research was so poor that the author would not get a job at his firm. Listen in.
As an investor, I pay no attention to these kind of, mudslinging allegations with, very selective facts or some data being thrown in. I saw the report that they put out. I mean, frankly, that kind of stuff would be done by, a graduate level analyst in a firm like ours to dig up that data. There's nothing credible in it. I mean, it's just a bunch of facts. What is it? You Google something, you find something, and then you put it out and say, selectively, because I'm sure they found something else, but they selectively chose to use this data, which shows nothing. I mean, there is nothing material in it. So I don't even know why there is even this interest on social media. Maybe it will stay for a couple of days, it will die out. But it's a non-event. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think the only intent of Hindenburg probably is to make some money off it. It is also the onus is on the Indian government to take note of this and to make sure these things don't happen, that people just don't make allegations from overseas and have no repercussions around it. They have the legal forum they can go to if they have a problem, but putting it out in the media, there's only one intent, which is to mudsling and benefit monetarily from it. And I think once both these efforts fail, hopefully this will stop. But I think my worry is that as the Indian market grows and we attract more and more foreign capital, some of these attacks will continue from different directions.
And in fact, Nirav Sheth of MK Global has advised retail investors to place their faith in the regulators and the system and not be swayed by vested interests making allegations from outside the country.
I just sense that, it is so frivolous. I would like to believe that, more than India or more than our top chair of, regulatory body, I think this is going to be the downfall of people who made these accusations. Markets are very efficient. They'll see through if you've done some good work or whether it is very frivolous in nature. And I don't think that, I don't expect any reaction at all from the markets. I think it will have a natural death. And therefore, I don't think that the retail investors, should give too much of importance to, some remote research outfit sitting outside the country and making some allegations. And I think that I think we should not underestimate, the aggregate intelligence of the market and the retail investors. They are very smart. Let me tell you that.
And we have good regulatory framework and we should not have any doubts about it. That's what Sunil Sanai, the founder and CEO of Nova One, had to say about the allegations against the SEBI chairperson.
First of all, our capital market regulator is a well-established and proactive and reliable regulator. We had capital market regulator as SEBI for last more than 30 years plus, and our market has grown significantly because we had a very good regulator and the regulatory framework. So we should not doubt on our regulator or the regulatory framework. If you look at our market has become third largest in the world in terms of the market cap. Our secondary market volumes have doubled in the last 1 year. Our primary market is also very active. Our mutual fund industry has become almost 25% of the overall banking industry. We have added new products like alternatives in form of AIF that itself has become 100 billion plus. There was a mention about the REITs InvITs. The REITs InvITs is a new product and a very good product, which provided liquidity to illiquid market of real estate and is almost $18 billion plus. So all across the markets are doing very well. And it is doing well because we have a very strong regulator. So I think these kind of reports and the allegation, I'm not sure is going to really dilute the regulatory framework of the regulator. Actually, market understands, market read those statements, and they've been able to decipher on their own. So whenever something like this happens, I think our markets are mature when they are able to understand the difference and they are able to decipher what is behind it. And you saw this, this time there was no reaction in the market. There was a mention that the market opened soft a bit in the morning because it's also Asian market was soft. I don't think it is anything to do with the report.
And Ajay Roti, CEO of Tax Compass, has questioned Hindenburg's timing of allegations, suggesting that the firm is targeting regulators with their actions.
I think there are two things which are apparent. One, that they are clutching at straws. And also the second thing is the timing and why are they doing it now? And that's becoming even more clear with the second response and everything that they're doing. The first time they were having allegations about individual stock and whether they've taken short position, they made money is all another story. But what did they do the second time? They're actually going after the regulator. And they're actually going after, in that sense, the entire market, even if they are short. You need to note there's nothing about Adani again in the second set of allegations. And now they're doubling down. So clearly clutching at straws, no doubts about that. In terms of beyond the market, what is their allegation? Even if you were to take it seriously and consider it, it's really about whether there are, the Indian regulator, and especially the SEBI chairperson, is independent or not, and if there are conflicts of interest. I think SEBI has a robust code of conduct for all their whole-time members, for the chairperson herself, in terms of disclosures, in terms of recusing themselves from matters when they are before a board. The decisions that Hindenburg says have been taken by SEBI are all taken by the board. Nothing is taken by a person alone, including the chairperson. Therefore, I don't think there is anything that we need to be looking at from a more governance perspective, improving how our regulator works and things like that. Of course, there's always a scope for improvement. Could these disclosures be made public? Could assets and transactions and conflicts of the whole-time members, chairperson now be put up on the SEBI website? Could be an improvement. But I don't think there's anything drastically different that needs to be done from how our regulations are or how SEBI functions today.
Avendus Capital's Anand Malik has said that the longer Hindenburg keeps making false and baseless allegations, the markets will wisen up and stop reacting.
Markets haven't ignored it 100%. The next time this happens, market will ignore it 100%. So the last time this happened, if you remember, the reaction was much more steeper on the way down. This time the reaction has been a bit more mild. So markets haven't completely discounted it. Markets have reacted to it. But the more this happens and the more consistently they keeps happening on a regular basis, then at a point of time market will not even talk about it. So for example, the media channels are now discussing about it first thing in the morning. 2 or 3 more sessions like this and people will not talk about this only. You may remember after the exit polls and after the elections, there was talk about how exit polls were rigged and short sellers made money. But even from those levels, Nifty is higher now. So the more these kind of things happen, I think it's good for markets because our market participation is fairly deep, and this tends to show that everything is in order.
Well, with that, it's a time for a very quick break. But on the other side, we bring you what the government has said and all other political reactions. So stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the Finance Ministry has commented on the Hindenburg Report and said that it has nothing more to add to the statements that have been given by the Securities and Exchange Board of India and its chairperson Madhvi Puri regarding short sellers' latest report. And now there are people in the world who do not want to see India succeed. That's what Arjun Ram Meghwal, the Law and Justice Minister, had to say about the allegations against the SEBI chairperson.
संसार में कुछ ऐसे लोग हैं, कुछ ऐसे देश भी हो सकते हैं जो नहीं चाहते कि भारत इतनी तेज गति से तरक्की करे, और उसी का ही परिणाम है कि वो कहीं न कहीं भारत की तरक्की या भारत की जो हो रही है उन्नति, उसको रोकने के लिए इस तरह की कोई रिपोर्ट है ये प्रकाशित करवाते रहते हैं, कभी पेपर में, कभी किसी मैगजीन में, और इसकी चर्चा भी कई बार लोकसभा में और राज्यसभा में हो चुकी है। और हमारे जो सरकारी पक्ष है वो भी कल रखा जा चुका है, जिससे स्पष्ट है कि ऐसे ही बस बना दिया, कोई दम नहीं है, बेबुनियाद आरोप लगा दिए।
Now, the senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad has slammed the opposition. He claimed that their reactions target the savings of small investors.
कभी राफेल की चिट मिल गई तो लगे हिंदुस्तान में घूमने, वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हारे, माफी मांगना पड़ा, कंटेम्प्ट हुआ उनके खिलाफ। फिर एक दूसरी चिट मिल गई, हिंडनबर्ग की पहली रिपोर्ट, वो चिट मिल गई, उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मैंने बताया कि 24 में 23 इंक्वायरी कंप्लीट हो गई। अब हिंडनबर्ग को जुलाई में नोटिस की गई है, तो फिर ये काउंटर प्रोडक्ट हुआ। अब ये चिट पड़ गई, जेपीसी लाओ, इंक्वायरी कराओ, मतलब भारत के पूरे स्टॉक मार्केट को क्रैश कराओ, छोटे इन्वेस्टर्स के पूंजी निवेश को समाप्त कराओ, भारत में कोई आर्थिक निवेश न हो विदेश का, एफआईआई और एफडीआई, वो सबको रोको, बिकॉज इंडियन इन्वेस्टमेंट सिनेरियो इज नॉट ए सेफ पोजीशन।
Now let's hear what the former Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi had to say about Hindenburg's allegations against the SEBI chairperson.
Hindenburg as an entity has no credibility at all. We have seen their first attack more than a year ago. The idea is to create a sensation, create instability in the stock market, create a volatile situation, and then try and make a profit out of that by short selling, etc. And that is their avowed object. They picked on the Adani group. I had an occasion to see all their charges because I was involved in that case. The matter went to the Supreme Court. The authorities looked into it and ultimately found nothing, and that case was disposed of. Now, I find that there is a concerted attack on the same group, and now they have roped in the SEBI chief. I think it completely lacks credulity and credibility.
Now, the senior Supreme Court advocate and BJP Rajya Sabha MP Mahesh Jethmalani has criticised Hindenburg Research for targeting India's stock market and SEBI chairperson Madhvi Puri Buch without accountability. Jethmalani claims Hindenburg's acquisitions, based on third-party reports, aim to destabilise India's economy, particularly the Adani Group. He's also criticised Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and called him Hindenburg's disciple. He said on social media platform X, and I quote, "Hindenburg's most loyal disciple," quoting its last report chapter and verse. If Hindenburg is intent on destabilizing India's equity markets, Rahul Gandhi is hand in glove with it. There's a second conspiracy afoot, unquote. Well, that's all we have time for right now on this special show. Thank you very much for joining in this evening.